Before that, let me go across to Nalin Kohli of the BJP, an advocate himself. Nalin Kohli, I'm not sure if you've heard these comments by Kapil Sibal. He's raised very serious allegations against the court, calling them, basically saying that there is no hope with the Supreme Court anymore. He's raised a specific allegation of the CJI being the master of the roster, saying that such a court cannot be trusted anymore, cannot be independent either. Your first remarks.
As a senior advocate and a former law minister, Mr. Kapil Sibal himself knows the limits of what we should say when we speak about the court. Let's face the fact. When judgments come in favor of any party, then of course the court is supposed to be brilliant, wonderful. But when judgments are against, then the court suddenly becomes where we have no hope. We can't have a system like that. Ultimately, it is the same court which passes judgments, some cases in favor of one, some cases in another. Judgments can't be made according to what are the expectations and desires of the litigants. Judgments will be written by judges based on what they look at the issues, and the court hears everyone. In every case, there are at least two parties, in some cases many parties. And when reasoned judgments come, there are long reasons given in it. Now, certainly Mr. Sibal or anyone else can have the right to have a point of view.
Yeah.
But to say there is no hope is an extreme statement. Because this is the final court. This is a court where the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich, they come finally. The master of the roster is the Chief Justice. That system has existed in the 50 years, in the last several decades, in which the Congress has been incumbent too. The Congress party or its former ministers can't have a system that it worked wonderfully when they were in power, and the same system has become bad under the BJP.
No,
because the
Mr.
BJP is not running the court.
Mr. Nalin Kohli, you have a point there. We also have a reaction coming in from Mr. Kapil Sibal. Let's play that out first, and then I'll come back to Mr. Kohli.
कोर्ट के सामने नहीं रखे गए जो किसी प्राइवेट पार्टी का दस्तावेज, कोई प्राइवेट डॉक्यूमेंट, हम केवल वही डॉक्यूमेंट कोर्ट के सामने रखेंगे जो सरकारी डॉक्यूमेंट, सरकारी दस्तावेज हो, ताकि कोर्ट हमें न कह सके कि आप अपनी बात अदालत के सामने रख रहे हो। हमें उनको कहा कि ये तो ऑफिशियल पेपर है, ये सरकारी दस्तावेज है, ये सरकारी दस्तावेज ये कहानी बताते हैं। तो आप इसका फैसला कीजिए। एक उदाहरण देता हूं कि आपको मालूम है कि गुजरात के समय गुलबर्ग सोसाइटी ने कई जगह पे लोग जलाए गए, मकान जलाए गए, तो उस समय नेचुरली वहां फायर ब्रिगेड भी होती थी। तो जो इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज थी वो फायर ब्रिगेड में फोन करती थी कि साहब यहाँ आग लगी हुई, आके हो जाएगी। तो वो जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन थी, कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस थी, वो इंटेलिजेंस की कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस हमारे सामने थी। तो ताज्जुब की बात यह है कि किसी फायर ब्रिगेड ने फोन नहीं उठाया, किसी फायर ब्रिगेड ने फोन नहीं उठाया। तो हमने बहस की कोर्ट के सामने कि ये बताइए साहब कि जो एसआईटी आपने बनाई थी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बनाई थी, उस एसआईटी ने जाके पूछा कि भाई आपने फोन क्यों नहीं उठाया? तो मैं ज्यादा नहीं कुछ कहना चाहता, तो सिफारिश दी गई, ये दी गई कि वो बिजी होंगे, बिजी होंगे। भाई कहां बिजी थे, कहां गए हुए थे, फायर ब्रिगेड कहां थी, ऑपरेटर कहां था? ये तो एसआईटी को तफ्तीश करनी चाहिए थी ना। एसआईटी ने तफ्तीश नहीं की। जब हमने कोर्ट से पूछा क्यों नहीं की, हम कोई दस्तावेज कोर्ट के सामने नहीं रखे गए जो किसी प्राइवेट पार्टी का दस्तावेज, कोई प्राइवेट डॉक्यूमेंट,
Well, that was the statement coming in from senior counsel Mr. Kapil Sibal. This is a gentleman. He's a senior lawyer. He has had an illustrious career at the bar, one of the very well-reputed names in the corridors of judiciary in the Supreme Court as well. Not to forget that he has served various important positions, including at one time the law minister of the country. However, the process of appointment of judges has been a bone of contention between the respective governments and the collegium. At the same time, we have had various occasions where the top lawyers have criticized the judiciary, but is this really in the right tone and tenor? Ujjwal Nikam is also joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Nikam, thank you so much for speaking to us. Your thoughts in the manner in which Mr. Kapil Sibal put out his arguments or his criticism of the Supreme Court. He said there is no hope left.
It is the most unfortunate that the senior advocate like Mr. Kapil Sibal is making such type of statement. Of course, in democracy, you can express your views, but ultimately, you see the apex court, the top court, the Supreme Court, you see, we must maintain the respect and the dignity of the court. If you have any grievances about the distribution of work among the judges, you have the remedy by a legal means. But you should not scandalize or criticize publicly, openly in such a manner so that the common man would feel that, oh, ultimately this is the respect of the court. Yeah. So I think Mr. Sibal's statement is totally unwarranted, and I strongly condemn such type of statement made by a senior advocate.
Right. Mr. Nikam, I'm also taken back in time on the 12th of January 2018, when we had that historic press conference by sitting 4 judges of the Supreme Court. And even that time, the master of the roster or manner in which cases were being assigned was something that was questioned by the sitting judges of the Supreme Court. And ever since then, this controversy has surrounded the corridors of Supreme Court, of the top collegium. However, various steps have been taken by the Supreme Court collegium. There is an effort to try and make the appointments more transparent. There are instances where the collegium puts out the resolution on the website. There is also increased push to increase more and more transparency as far as judicial appointments are concerned. Right now, they work through a closed-door process called the collegium system, and more importantly, after the NJSC verdict of 2015, this is the system that continues to operate in the country. But beyond NJSC, this is about a recent judgment that had come out from the Supreme Court, and clearly Mr. Sibal is not happy with it. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar is also joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, take us through the judgment that Mr. Sibal is talking about. What were his objections or criticisms?
Well, yes, Anusha, he's clearly talking about the Zakia Jafri judgment, wherein a clean sheet was given to the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, who is currently the Prime Minister of the country, Mr. Narendra Modi, and others in the larger conspiracy case with regards to the Gujarat riots. And in fact, the court had also held in the Zakia Jafri case that there are people who were trying to paint the government in a bad light and were blaming the government in a way of a larger conspiracy. And remember, after that, various arrests were made. R.B. Srikumar was arrested, Teesta Seetalwan were arrested, and a great conspiracy had emerged out as to how to paint the government in bad light. And this is the particular judgment which Mr. Sibal was talking about at this event that was held on Saturday in the national capital very recently, wherein Mr. Sibal was also was a speaker there, and where he made these statements that he has no hope left in the judicial system of the country. He was basically talking against the 2 judgments. One was the Zakia Jafri case, and another was the judgment of the Supreme Court in the PMLA, wherein it had upheld all the most of the provisos of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, giving extraordinary powers to the Enforcement Directorate. So he was also questioning how the ED functions at this particular event, and in fact, he also made aspersions over the Zakia Jafri case into this particular event. So basically, this is what Mr. Sibal had said, that there is no hope left in the judicial system.
I also want to